Hello, welcome to McDonald's Crafting. Now today I'm going to be sharing with you the results of the experiment I've been doing using my Xtools D1 laser to engrave or etch onto glass and mirror. Now as you can see, I've done quite a range of experiments. Some worked, some didn't. They've all got numbers on them, either on the back or on the front, telling me what I did and how I did it. And one of them definitely came out the best for glass or clear glass, and it's that one in comparison to that one that didn't really show up, as you can see, and that one that isn't as quite as smooth. And also for the mirror, I did have one that resulted in a really good result, which is that one, and I'll show you how to do that. Some of these worked terribly, like this one, it caught and it moved that, even though the head was far enough away. I think it was because that was too light. Other ones just didn't do it at all. There are some which move and miss out bits of the engraving, and I couldn't work out why that was to start with, but I've actually worked out what it is that causes these gaps. So there's an easy solution to that to prevent getting any gaps in your engraving. The first thing I'm going to show you is how I clean the mirror up. I use a little bit of soapy water in a spray gun, and this is the mirror technique that I found worked the best. I spray that on and then gave it a bit of a clean with a piece of kitchen paper. Dry that off. And then to ensure that there's no oil and grease on it, I go over it using some 99% alcohol. I want to trim it down. I want it to be the same size as this piece of glass here that I've already used. Glass cutter. And then snap that off, and then that's the right size. Now I'm going to pop it into my spray box, and now I'm going to spray it with this cold galvanizing. It's by Rust-Oleum. It's really easy to get hold of. I will link everything that I use in the description below, and I'm going to show you how quickly it is just to spray this. I go over it. And I overlap it, and then I'll leave that to go completely hard. It's normally hard within about 2 or 3 hours. For the clear glass, I do it exactly the same way. I clean it exactly the same way. That is where I start to do something that's a little bit different. And the reason I've got it on this piece of paper towel is so it doesn't pick up anything from underneath here, because obviously this hasn't got the backing on that a mirror would have. And I'm going to be using Laserbox Basic for this, because a lot of people who've got the Xtools D1 don't have light burn or don't know how to use it, including myself. Using Laserbox Basic is really simple. So the first thing I'm going to do is, on one of these clean sides, is put a little bit of 3-in-1 oil. Can you tell how long I've had this in the garage? Don't need much, just a little dollop like that. That is plenty. And then what I do is I take a bit of cloth like this, and I smear that all the way over that piece of glass till I'm confident there's a very thin layer of that all the way around. I'll leave that to dry on there for about an hour. This is why I prep several bits at once. And I am going to show you all the settings I use and the final results, and how easy it is to clean up and get it all looking beautiful. The first one I'm going to show you is the mirror that is coated in the cold galvanizing spray, which is really quite heavily zinc based. I've got it rested on my honeycomb tray, and it works really well for that. The other thing is, I would strongly recommend that you use the Air Assist, which is this piece of kit here. It's brilliant. I mean, it's brilliant for cutting, it's brilliant for engraving. The difference that it makes with this zinc is that when it's burning off, what happens is, if the Air Assist isn't on, the actual little particles, the dust that comes off this, gets caught underneath and blocks up that little hole the laser comes out of, and as a result you get those mist patches that I showed you earlier in the video, where there's lines that are missed. And I'm going to import an image that actually isn't my image. I got it off Google, so it's not one that I have the license for, and therefore I wouldn't be able to sell this or do anything else with it. And it's a tiger image, and that's the image. It's too large for what we want at the moment. Now I work in millimeters, but you can easily cut this down and work in something else. Now I'm not going to make this massive. I'm going to do this at 120 millimeters square. The other setting I use is the stainless steel setting. I pretty much go for all the default settings on this, apart from I do change the millimeters per second from 12 to 30, and that does speed it up an awful lot. And on this particular picture, let's zoom into this a little bit more. I changed the grayscale up a little bit as well to darken that off. I leave the lines per centimeters at 100, the sharpness at 50. I have it on bi-directional, so I just need to connect it. So that's going to take 85 minutes. It probably won't take that. I've found that it normally is about 5 minutes quicker than that. I'm now going to turn on the air assist, and as you can see here, that air assist is very quiet indeed. I'm also going to turn on my extractor fan here that I have directly above my laser, and this is brilliant. It draws out all and every fume that I could hope for. I'm going to give it a quick frame again. I'm really happy with the positioning. I'm happy that everything's on. I'm going to put on my laser goggles. We've got 85 minutes and I'm going to push start. And there we go, that is kicking off now. I'm only doing one pass because one pass should be enough, and that will give me a great engraving on this mirror. This is all finished cutting now. We won't really know what it looks like completely until we've cleaned off all this galvanized paint. And the easiest way that I've found to clean this off is a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and this is 99% on a cloth, and then I go around it in little circles. I suppose you could use a paint thinner or something like that. I find rubbing alcohol doesn't leave a horrible smell in my studio after I've used it. It comes off really easily. And once I'm happy with that, I just put some normal soapy water on it. And then I'd use a little softish brush to give it a final scrub. If you haven't got a brush like this, a toothbrush would work absolutely fine. There we have a beautifully engraved tiger's head, and you can see on that mirror that is nice and in there. I mean, that is not going anywhere. Engraved into the mirror. I did so many different testings using different strengths, different settings, and this is what I mean when I say without the air assist, that's what happens. You get these bits that go missing because that little nozzle gets blocked up. So let's have a look at the clear glass. I'm ready to engrave the clear glass one, and this is the side with the oil on, and I'm putting the oil down onto the card, and I've just got a piece of normal cardstock there that is cheap enough to buy from anywhere. Now this one I'm not doing directly on the honeycomb base, I'm doing it on a piece of wood, and then the card, and then the glass, and I found that I get a better engraving like that. I'm using the same image at the same size. I'm also using exactly the same settings, so stainless steel, 30 millimeters per second, 100% power, image mode grey, lines per centimeter 100, sharpness 50%, and I've darkened that off so they're a little bit heavier than they would be if I had this one here all the way to there. Do the same thing, the framing, and remember, whenever you're framing, you go by the cross laser, not by this nozzle, because as soon as it starts, it moves to where that cross laser is, rather than trying to go by the nozzle. If you go by the nozzle, then you're not going to get things as centralized as you want them. I'm quite happy with that positioning. Pop on my glasses once again, push start. I've just put the air assist on because I had forgotten to put it on, and that really does make a difference to the whole engraving process. That air assist is just awesome. This is the 10 watt Xtools D1 laser, and so far I have only used their own program to work with this. I haven't used, I think it's Lightburn yet, but I am going to start to learn how to use that. This is in finished engraving now. That's the image it leaves on the paper, which is actually lovely as well. This will need cleaning up because it'll be a little bit sticky on the back here from the oil that we put on and the paper. So I'm ready to clean this off. You don't need to use any spirits or anything with this. All you need to use is some soapy water, and that will come off there. Using this same brush just to go over it, and as you can see, all that has cleaned off. To make it easier to see, I've put them on this blue cloth. There's a lot of lights in my craft studio, so it's bouncing around, especially with the mirror. The other thing that you need to remember when you're using the paper method is that it will engrave on the side that the paper is, so it's mirrored to this. Now I quite like that because I'm going to use this in an upcoming project and I want them to be mirrored. But if not, then just use the flip function in the program and that will allow you to get it so they're both round the right way. I want to show you what it looks like if you use exactly this method here, but rather than do it as 30 millimeters per second, you do it as 80. It does give you a very light engraving. You can barely see it. So seeing the two together, let's have them both going around the right way as well. There is a massive difference. That's the difference that it makes by turning the millimeters per second down to 30. And I think 30 is absolutely suitable. I don't think you need to do 12, and that would take twice as long anyway. You can really feel that in there. That is really nicely engraved. Well, I hope you found this video useful. Boot the like button, really does help my videos to get out there. And make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my other crafting and laser videos. If you'd like to buy me a coffee just to say thank you for anything that I've done today, then the link for that and the link for everything that I've used is in the description below. I will be making something using these two images coming up very soon, so look out for that as well. Take care, enjoy your crafting, bye.